DC 40. Have you guys heard about this shit yet? If you haven't, look it up on Google. You'll easily find it. There's a website devoted to this event. I'll give you guys a very quick summary, but I would like you guys to look this shit up on your own. There is a movement being started by this evangelical church where I believe in November, I could be wrong, but I'm believing sometime in November, they want to march down in Washington and quote unquote hold siege over it for 40 days and 40 nights in this big, huge prayer fest to turn the government around in a sense that they will no longer accept any secular ideas or any ideas other than Christian ones. That they will accept no law other than Christian law and Christian doctrine. They even want Washington, D.C., they want the D.C. in it changed from District of Columbia to District of Christ. And they want basically no other ideology, especially any other religious ideology, to be tolerated in this country other than the Christian one. And they don't want to just simply limit it to this country. They want to make sure this is then spread throughout the world because there's supposed to be no law but their gods. And again, for those of you who think I'm making this shit up, look it up. It's on Google. This is happening. This is real. Now, I must point out that right now, all they're really doing is they're just basically going to march over there and just pray. It's not like they're going to be heading over there with guns in their hands and shit and trying to force the government to do this. It's not that dire. And it's not like I'm actually expecting this to actually somehow make the government go, oh my God, we do need to, live under the banner of the cross. It's not going to happen. I mean, I know this country's idiotic, but I doubt it's that idiotic. I mean, if it is, I really need to pack my bags and go. But the fact that there are a group of people who are willing to do this is frightening enough. And the fact that I am not finding any public forum, nor is this being discussed in the news as far as I can tell. If it has been, please enlighten me on this. But as far as I can tell, this is not being discussed widely among the public, which it fucking should if we were living in a country that is actually supposed to have citizens in it doing their fucking job, i.e. being citizens in a republic where they actually help to determine the destiny of this country. This country was supposed to have been founded on principles of separation of church and state. The reason why it was quite frankly the people who helped to start this country saw the bullshit that happened with religion in Europe and didn't want it to happen here. And ever since that time, there's been a constant clash between religious zealots and people who didn't want this country to become a theocracy. But now, because of people not fully understanding history and quite possibly because of a fucked up education system in this country, you now have people who are not only dead set ready to believe that this was always supposed to be a Christian nation, but they are determined to make it happen by any means necessary. Yes, right now it's just a prayer fest. But do you really think it's going to stop there? A religious zealot who wholeheartedly believes in their beliefs are not just going to stick with peaceful methods. And considering that these, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but these are people who are using terms like blood-soaked love to describe how they want this country to be, this goes to show they don't even understand the words coming out of their mouth. So they're definitely not going to understand the ramifications of what they're actually asking for in a country that's supposed to be about freedom for all. There is no real freedom in a theocracy. We have plenty of examples, not only in history, but in present day to show you what happens when religion rules the roost. And yet here these people are trying not only to dominate this country's government through religion, and make it a religious organization, but they want to force the world to bow down to their stuff. Fuck that. That's the type of shit that needs to be argued about. But it also is the type of shit that, quite frankly, should be discussed. Like, we should be like, wait a minute, these yahoos are trying to, they're that desperate to transform the way our government works? Have we slid that far that we could even, take something like this seriously? And what I mean by taking it seriously is to the extent that groups of people are like, yeah, this needs to happen. Because I know plenty of Christians who, despite the fact that they believe in their religion, know what would happen if they were living under a government that only went with the laws of their religion. They're rational enough to realize that, wait, no, that can't fucking work. okay? That can't fucking work at all. Anyway, enough of that DC-40 shit, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and this is the type of shit that just really fucking sickens me. Oh, and one other thing that I find kind of a little humorous about it, they seem to want to target the pagans specifically in this country. Like I said, they want no tolerance of any other religion in this country whatsoever. And pagans in particular really have taken umbrage about this. So they want to actually have a counter prayer session against the Christian one, which I guess more power to them, but I really don't know what to say about that. I mean, they shouldn't be persecuted just because they're pagans, definitely. And to be honest with you, I have a soft spot for pagans, but it still is just, it's kind of getting a little bit ridiculous with like just pitting one religious belief against another, but whatever. Anyway, last point I wanted to bring up. Last point. And I actually should have said this earlier now that I'm thinking about this. But this is actually, I wanted to make an addendum video to the one I did on, government and freedom and responsibility and all that. I got a lot of interesting comments under that video, particularly a lot from the anarchist type, who, a lot of them agreed with me that, yeah, right now people aren't really ready for a particular belief system like that. But there were others who were like, but government is the problem. It's like, I know you're saying you're attributing it to people, but really, it's government. You get rid of government, and this problem wouldn't be as major. Sorry, that was a truck. I'm saying we wouldn't be having these problems that you mentioned if government wasn't there. And I can't say I can agree with that. I will say that, yes, government helps to perpetuate the problems that I mentioned. The certain apathy in people, or, taking advantage of their laziness, or basically saying, don't worry, we have everything hand in hand. But at the end of the day, government is not some weird monolithic alien entity that just comes in and sucks the critical thinking skills out of people's heads. We were willing to give it up in the first place. That's how people were able to corrupt government processes to make it into the monster that we're dealing with now. It is, at the end of the day, a tool. That's all it is. It's simply a tool used by people to determine how the bureaucracy of the country is going to run. Even if you happen to be living under an anarchistic state, you still need those bureaucracies to function in some way, shape, or form, which is essentially a government. So it's not government that's the problem, it's the people. The problem is with the people and how we were willing to give up power to begin with. That's how these people are able to corrupt government and take it over and make it do things that are against the people's interest. If people are willing to have more say and basically take on more responsibility to determine the destiny of this country, and being willing to know the type of things one would need to know in order to help to run a nation, we probably wouldn't be having this problem. But because we are full of a bunch of ignorant motherfuckers who are lazy and want only comfort, that's why we're in the situation that we're in right now. It's like if you're trying to run your own commune, for instance, which means you're basically running your own mini nation. You need people to know, okay, let's say you guys go out, you have a commune, you collect several families together, like a weird socio-anarchistic commune. You guys come together, families come together, you buy a plot of land, you build houses on there. Someone needs to know about the land that you're buying stuff on and how things work on it. People need to know how, what type of power system they're going to have for the houses. It's going to be solar power, wind power, hydro, a combination of all these things. Are they going to have a farm on there? Are they going to build their own income while out there? Are they still going to have jobs? How close do they need to be to civilization? They need to figure out all this shit. And they also need to know how to run their commune, which takes a lot of research. Now, usually what happens is one of two things. Either everyone in there decides to become well-informed on how to run the place, or they specialize. You handle this, you handle that, you handle this, you handle that, which is still giving out responsibility to people, but now they're not taking all the responsibility. Or worse, which I guess is a third thing, not just two things, three things happen. They just select a group of people who they think are the smartest. You. How about you guys figure out how to run all this shit and we just live there? Which is what a lot of people tend to do. Look, you want to realize why this is more of a human problem than just simply trying to blame it on government and turn government into a scapegoat instead of just the little tool it is? Wintertime. Snowstorm blow through. You got snow all over the fucking place. covering up your driveway, your sidewalk, your front yard. It took you at least a day before you were finally able to open up your front door to get rid of all that snow. And you know you gotta shovel it. It's on your property. It's time to shovel that shit, and you're not looking forward to it. Then you hear a knock. Knock on the door. Some teenage kid saying that he's willing to shovel the front of your house for $15. Now, it's your property. It's your front yard, your sidewalk, your driveway. You got a snow shovel. You have 4 operating limbs. You could do this. But this kid is promising to take away some of that responsibility for $15. What do you do? What do most of you do? You pay that $15 so you can stay inside while the kid shovels. That right there is the problem. That right there is why you can't just blame this on government. That right there is why I'm saying that we are not ready for something like that yet. Because we are too willing, too ready, just quick to handle the responsibility to somebody else if it means ease and comfort for us. And a system, like hell, just like a functioning democracy, much less, you know, not even talking about anarchy. A democracy itself needs more responsible people than that. And we don't have them. So you can't just simply blame that on government. That's not the fucking problem. It's not. It's the way it's being used that's the problem. And it's the way that we just give up power to other motherfucking people. That's the problem. And yeah, I know people are going to be jumping down my throat. Well, there's some instances where you know, it's... Does that mean we have to, like, never give up responsibility to somebody else? I mean, that's why we have certain services, certain jobs are made, you know, that people, you wouldn't have certain job industries if it wasn't for people doing that. Yes, I understand that. Every now and then, maybe, you know, relaxing a bit isn't a bad thing. But when it's something that we just are ready to do all the fucking time, it's a problem. And until we address that, we're fucked. Alright, I went on this long enough and the trains are coming in, so catch you guys later. We got a train! We got to train! I'm gonna wait for the train to go past and then I'll continue. That's the train! Look at the train! And the big problem with the people, here comes another fucking train. And it's coming slowly this time. I don't know why it is that when I try to come out here to do this, the trains decide that's when they're going to show up. They usually don't show up any other time. There's a train. If that fucker slows down and backs up, I think I'm going to murder him. Fucking train.